Well, I'll continue, and the second part of the session is devoted to the benefits of a cooperation of small countries. As Lina already mentioned, there could be the accelerator could be a great modality to boost the digital development of countries, but now we are focusing more what we can do together. And I have a couple of slides to show you and set the context and to discuss what is actually the situation globally and what are the conditions we are actually operating in small countries. So first of all, I'd like to say that Estonia is also a very small country. There are 73 countries globally with less than 1 million population. And Estonia, with its 1.3 million population, is just 155th of country by size. So consider us as a very, very, very small country. So, and the total number of countries in this list, and it's actually countries and territories, are 233. So, and another issue is that most of those small countries are small island development countries. So there is 9 of them in Atlantic and Indian Ocean, 16 in Caribbean, 13 in Pacific, and actually if you add all like non-UN members countries, there is 20 or more of them. So the common denominator is that they are all very small. So what is like a context of nature around it? There is a lot of natural hazards both in Pacific and Caribbean. As you usually hear from the news, the hurricanes, tornadoes, tsunamis, whatever, it's all happening unfortunately there. It's not happening in Estonia that much. We haven't had tsunami never ever, and was probably because of our geographical location we will not have. Maybe we can have just a strong wind or storm here, but not this kind of things like those countries may have, like devastating hurricanes, also like flooding, what may happen after heavy rains. So it's all the context what we need to consider, that basically the risk is that countries' infrastructure is just physically wiped off. What happens a couple of years back in Barbuda. Also, we need to consider the connectivity issues. We have a very lucky situation in Estonia here. We have like landline links to Latvia, to Russia. We have very short submarine cables to Helsinki, to Finland, what is like 90 kilometers. We have another submarine cable to Sweden, what is probably a couple of 100 kilometers. But the submarine cables, what are laid down in Pacific, it's thousands of kilometers. And they cost a fortune. You cannot imagine how much they cost, actually. So the connectivity is also a big issue in those small countries globally, and the price for the connectivity without submarine cables is also tremendous. I just returned from Kiribati, and in Kiribati, what is very small atoll country in Pacific with like 110,000 inhabitants. There is 2 mobile network operators, but both are dependent on satellite connection. So you can imagine that the internet connection is slow and bad. Slow, bad, and very expensive. So definitely the submarine cables, what are now, with help of World Bank and other institutions, are mostly laid down already or work in progress. So during a couple of years, most of the countries, as I have heard, both in Pacific and already pretty well connected Caribbeans will be connected. So it's changing the game. But again, even if you are dependent on one submarine cable and it's cut off, like happens a couple of months back in Tonga, so it will be blackout. Not electricity-wise, but also the connectivity-wise. And just nothing is happening, and you have some backups through satellite, but it's still very slow. And also the connectivity inside the country might be challenging if you have like a set of islands in your country that are from each other couple of hundreds kilometers, so even radio links and microwave links are not helpful in this case. So this is all the context what we have, plus the growing concern of cybersecurity issues, what we need to consider, and it's all connected to the limited resources. If you have government or nation with 80,000 people, it's the amount of money what is actually circulating in the government, it's just limited. If you have a country what might be very poor, but 10 million people, the amount of money what is circulating through the government budget is anyway bigger, just if you're calculating it. So limited resources, both financially, but also about the skills of people. If you have a small nation, you may have a small university, you educate your people abroad, but still there is a question how to involve skilled persons, how to find skilled persons, and also how to develop ICT industry. In small countries, sometimes there is just one or two mobile operators, and this is all IT industry. And the government must do all the ICT development by themselves because there is no ICT business. So this is the context. So how we can respond? I think we need to think how to change the public service delivery. I show you a couple of slides what is like typical administrative service delivery process. So it's typically citizen must visit one official to collect whatever printout from government database, what is called certificate of birth or something like it, when you need to visit another government official who will print out your certificate that you are living in this house and this street, and finally you collect all those papers. Maybe someone is issuing the certificate that your dog name is John, and finally you collect them all in one bunch and giving back to government, who is handling it. So this is like a typical situation. In many countries, definitely, many countries approaching the kind of one-stop shop approach, when you just need to visit government official twice, once to submit the application and second time to receive this certificate or whatever you were asking. But even in the small island context, it may take a day to drive by boat to this bigger village to submit the application. And when you drive back with your boat, another day. And then after 2 weeks, you take the boat again and drive to the village, and then you drive back. So it's 4 days, if you are lucky. Because it may happen that second time when you're coming back, the government official says that, listen, 1 comma was missing in your application. So please sign it again, and then we can handle it. And this is happening. So when it's already 6 trips. I was recently in Solomon Islands, and what they said that farmers in very rural, remote areas, the cost of a gasoline to drive by boat to the next bigger village to get the government services, the cost of a gasoline for the boat is the money what they are earning during 1 week. So basically, if you need to make 4 visits, all money what you earn during the month is gone. Okay, so basically what we need to do and what we can do is that to implement online government. If you have connectivity, and all the governments are improving the connectivity, and I think all governments are doing great work to do it, connecting also remote islands. So if you can do self-service, basically, go online, ask for the service, get the data from the government databases, and submit the application and get the response immediately, you're saving a huge amount of time and also very much money, actually. And this is now the question that if you are building up this marvelous digital infrastructure using strong digital identity, data online, and so on, so also this is the question how much it costs, and can we share both resource-wise and cost-wise the burden what we need to take. And basically, I just listed in the next slides how digital can help. So digitization of the databases and registers, it will both provide you access to the data immediately, but also provide you a backup. If something is really happening and your data center is flooded, So if your data is backed up somewhere else, you can download it. If it's in paper still, after the flooding, and if a paper is in cellar or somewhere ground level, not much is left. So, so actually it's not only to digitize because to digitize, it's also saving the data actually. And if you can make several copies of data, you hopefully, probably will save it after even the worst case scenario with natural disaster. Data storage. Today's solutions allow to store first location of a data, digital data in the institution. Second one could be in government cloud in the country, but third location could be in another country and or some commercial cloud. But this is what we will discuss also. Are you allowing it? It's not anymore technical question. It's now a legal question, cultural question, whatever, however you name it. So this could be discussed also. Also, digital infrastructure, all those interoperability solutions, portals. Do you have enough people to carry this load to run all those services? Or are you ready to share it with the countries in your region? Can we make kind of regional centers where we can share this workload to have experts on interoperability who are serving interoperability solution for most of the Caribbean countries or most of the Pacific countries? And so on and so on. So this is also a question, and then in the case we can also share the costs. Are we ready for the joint policy planning to be ready to share the solutions? Are we ready to harmonize our solutions, our standards, how we store the data, how we collect the data? Can we have a joint architecture? Can we have a joint infrastructure? So this is also an opportunity for small countries who are well connected to share this infrastructure, to share also the costs, and share the limited skills and expertise of ICT people. And finally, about skills. There is a need for new skills, what are not necessarily there, or you need to make a lot of efforts to keep it in your country. But what I have learned from several countries I have been visiting, there is just so limited number of ICT experts available in the country. So in some cases, they are not just able to run the applications in the level we'd like to see. So this is what we need to discuss also. Can we share this load by sharing the expertise also? And last but not least, there should be a development of skills of government officials and general awareness of citizens and society to make sure that they are accepting all those digital services, what we are providing them. Because what we have learned also in several countries that there might be resistance based on cultural, religious, and other issues. So all it should be considered also.